Dirk Beelen. I am Belgian, as you can hear. I live in Adelaide, and I'm an investor in REOSK. So myself, I have my own business where I do quite a bit of support of other businesses. I have a corporate background. I have quite a bit of experience with the real estate agent quite recently in Adelaide, so which was something that I wanted to know as well. And basically, when talking about REOSK, it reminds me of this person. I'm not going to ask you his name, but his name is Sergei Dubka. He's a pole vault jumper. Why am I saying this? Because he basically, 10 years in a row, had the world record, which is one thing, but he didn't have any competition. For 10 years he had no competition, but he was putting so much stress and so much development and so much innovation in his activities that he kept on going and being the leader. He finished his active jumping in '94, and his last record was only broken last year in February, 20 years later. And that's the kind of image that I got when I heard about REOSK, because that's the kind of push that I could see the team here putting themselves, putting them out there, and didn't stop them further making the next steps to go to this advantage, I would say, towards what is available in the market. Right now, REOSK, and it's not on the market yet, it still needs to prove itself, but even now, we know already that they're miles ahead of whatever is out there in the market, so that's pretty key. So that's one thing why I decided to invest in REOSK. But also, it is really a perfect concept for an industry that has not too good of a name for the time being. And that's not malicious. I mean, I'm just saying it is complex out there. And this is here, as a result of that, in various states and countries, there's lots of complex legislation, very difficult to follow. And as Sina already said, salespeople want to sell. They're notorious. I've got 20 years of sales management experience. They're notorious of hating paperwork. They would love to just do their job and sell. And all the rest, they would love to just jump it over, throw it overboard, and so on. Here's a system that might help us for sure. The second reason is that I think REOSK is great is build bottom up. As Sima said, she was the one that was confronted with this documentation that she hated. And she started building it up step by step by step. It's not a marketeer that comes with a great concept and say, here it is, and now go and sell it. No, it was really there to help people, to find solutions, to make their life easier and get result, meaning revenue and profit. So that is one thing that I really like as well. Of course, another part is Sima. I've known her indirectly for 10 years nearly through my wife, and the last year and a half directly. And she's a bit, and this is me, I'm sorry for saying that, but she's a bit of a visionary. She's a bit of the person that always says, oh, and this, and that, and that, and that, and this, and great, and no, and move there. So you have to sometimes pull her down and say, can we first have a product on the market before you develop the next 5 things? So, and that's where we are right now. But the good thing is that you know that you have a pipeline of new concepts, new hands-ons, new situations. That means not only, remember the pole vault, not only you are ahead, but you know there's more coming, which is great, of course, that's what you want to hear. And then lastly, it is a global opportunity. We're talking about today here in Sydney, but I've been in international sales. I know out there that there is plenty of areas, geographical areas, regions, concepts, where this is going to be a great tool as well. So that's why I say, for me, as an investor, I feel extremely confident about what's out there. If I put on my head of business development, sales, whatever you want to call it, then I immediately see 2 big steps that we should be doing. First of all, on the pure operational tactical is the real estate business owners. That means those people that are today in a sales agency, and you have there the 3 groups, of course, is that you have a single small location, one guy running the show, but he needs to be compliant as well, so he needs it. You have the small and medium enterprises, but you also have the big corporations. I mean, if you look to the Rain Horns or Johnson Ryan LaSalle, I mean, these are very big corporations, and they have an army to be compliant. Here we are, a tool that can help them as well throughout the world, if need be. The more strategic things that I was brainstorming with myself and with my wife is like, where else can this product go to? And then the less obvious, because there could be a conflict of interest, but we need to be smart, is the government. here it would be fair trade in Australia. But you have other places where you can go to the government and say, look, you are struggling having your people compliant in this environment. Here is a technology, a system, that if you endorse it, that can help and get the business. So it's a pull of the market at the moment because the government might endorse it, which is a great opportunity. And then, of course, you have the institutional investors, the hedge funds, the big companies. As I said, Jones Lang LaSalle, they have their own development in real estate, and they put a lot of money there. But there's other big banks that invest in Jones Lang LaSalle at that moment. If you can get them as a pool, and let me quickly go where the added value would lie. For the real estate agent, this is clear. I mean, he has a lower cost of true compliance. Today, you have dedicated people just doing trust accounting, to just name one. So, if they do use the REOSK, they will have less fines. All the preparation costs. If the moment there is an audit coming up, people start running around getting the documentation, make sure it's there, making sure that everyone understands what he's supposed to do and get there. Then if they're physically there, people are doing a job and then all of a sudden the auditor comes like, can I have this document, can I have that document? It's downtime, it's a cost. So these are things you can take away, so it's immediately benefit as well. And there's the personnel training. Of course, REOSK needs training as well, but if you look at turnover, which in some real estate agencies is huge, they really go like reading a book. It's like another page, and these people go and do a bit of job hopping, I would say. So once you have the right people on board and they are trained, then at that moment you're fine. While if there is an ongoing audit threat, then at that moment it is basically something that you can take out of your cost of operation. If you have REOSK, you also have an easier reporting and customer management. You saw, Baba just showed you, all the options are there. And most of the time, the slide with the 6 boxes, today what they're doing is just one of the 6. Then all of a sudden you have all these other opportunities. You have the business management, the statistics, all these things automatically are there at a cost lower than today. So here again, a major added value for the real estate agency owner. And then, of course, if all your documents that go out are error-free, are look-alike, have your logo on it, it really gives a feel that your agency is professional and is on top of the business. They know what they're doing, and you get that feel like, wow, yeah, okay, good, and that gives confidence as well. So there's indirect added value for the real estate agency, just as it is further down. If you look for the governmental bodies, why would they even consider endorsing REOSK? I mean, that's a statement. My wife came up with it, and I really like the concept. It's basically, she said, if an auditor would come in, and the first question would be, what system are you using? Is it REOSK or is it non-REOSK? If it's REOSK, oh, can I have that document, that document, that document? Here it is, it's done, because they feel confident. They say like, oh yeah, correct, okay, that's done. We know, because we know all the other things that are behind it. If it's non-REOSK, they say, okay, 2 more auditors please, because we need to spend in 2 days and we need to go through it all. So that's the kind of thing that they could feel as an added value to say, gee, we might have to endorse them. Of course, they have their personnel costs, so they just send 2 more auditors that have to walk in, that is one thing. The personal retention costs, because what's happening today, and maybe less here in Australia, but I definitely know in other countries, the moment that you have a complex regulatory environment, the governmental bodies will train their personnel. And once they are good and very good, the industry goes, say, can we get this guy? We can pay him much more. They get all the know-how immediately in their company, and at that moment, the governmental body have to retrain another person. So for them, to keep the good people that know the legislation inside out is quite expensive. And for the industry, it's a cheap salary. They have it, and they have the know-how, and they keep it there. So again, with REOSK around, that is less of an issue. Of course, they have other costs as well. Maybe that's important. But as a cost of non-compliance, if you have all these agencies out there where things are wrong, they have to do the fine collection, they have to do legal fees if it goes wrong. So again, there is an incentive for them if they would use, if REOSK would be used in a more standard way. And then the institutional investors, something that we need to consider in the last slides. First of all, peace of mind. If you know that you have invested in a big company and you know that they are using the right systems, that they are compliant, and that they will not reflect negative on your brand if you're a hedge fund and all of a sudden one of your big companies, there's a fraud case or something like that. You want that kind of exposure, so they feel more comfortable about that. And no financial exposure, because if you have a major investment in one of these companies, in these big real estate agencies, then at that moment you don't want them to lose money or to go bankrupt, so they have less financial exposure as well. And these very big organizations, banks often do internal audits. They would go to their companies that they've invested in, and that would REOSK would make that part of it easier as well. So for me, REOSK is a quite interesting concept. The fact that it is the possibility to make it global, that it is really, as you say, and I know it's very easy to put numbers on the sheet, say, this year we do this, that, next year that's going to be the sales, next year that here's the profit. I've seen it too often, and it might fail. The thing is, the curve might be right, the numbers might be wrong, but I strongly believe that we're going to have this kind of hockey stick curve in sales revenue and as well in profit, because there is a market out there and there is no answer for the time being. So I think it's so for me, it's obvious that I look forward for the beta testing that we're going to start here in February, meaning the next couple of weeks, and of course then the full product launch, because I look very forward to that. Okay? That's all for me. Sorry for being quick with that 5
Thank you.